Hey, it's Mac. Um, as you can see, we're in a trading range this morning, and I'm trying to set up a trade here. We may get a second entry here, but I don't know if we don't make a new high, I'm not going to get the right trigger on it. But I'd love to take a trade here and try to record it, but I don't know if it's going to set up. But I'm going to go ahead and start the recorder up, and we'll see. Uh-oh, we got a tick higher now. If we could turn down and get a good signal bar, we could get a second entry. But now we've made a new high too. We may get a failed breakout here. We'll see how this sets up, but I'd love to take a short right here if we could get a setup. So I may pause this and see if it sets up, and if it does, I'm going to try to demonstrate a trade here. So, but notice we're in a range. We've bounced off the lows a few times, the highs. I'll back out here again and show you real quick. I don't want to miss this trade though, so I want to be on top of it. But you can see we're just going sideways here. It looked like, well, we did have a two-tiered channel, but really it looks like the range is taking precedence. So let's see if we can get a second entry short here. I would have liked to have taken that one, but you can see how neutral that bar is. There's just no way I could take that trade. So, okay, we're getting ready to close here. I noticed my new low, and you got a first entry, and now we're fixing to get a second entry short right here. Oops. See if I can get a limit order. It triggered so quick. Maybe we can get filled here. Come on, tick back up there. All right, there we go. We're going to put our stop one tick above the signal bar. And there we go. We're already out. I moved my... Let's see if we can get a little bigger runner here. We'll go with the support down here where it's all at. So that'll give us 4 points on the runner if we get this one. Now I could move my stop on my runner to back above here to some place where I could move it around and change this up if I wanted to. I really don't want to give back what we had right there, but it looks like we're going to bounce off that EMA. But I'm gonna let it ride. We'll just let this play out. We'll either get our 4 points off the runner, or we'll get one tick off the 5 runners here. So it's really trying to bounce there. I'm really struggling to take it on down. That EMA is giving it a little support, and that's what you expect. You'll see that a lot. So if we ever push on through there, it may take on off. So I mean, I would hope that we're going to the other side of the channel, but at some point this channel will probably give, and this might be when it finally gives. But you see, I still was able to get a nice scalp. I could have already had several points on a runner. This bar closes neutral or bullish, I may just go ahead and close this trade and not let it take back all my runners, all my profit on my runners. Or I may just tighten my stop up when this bar closes. We'll give it a chance to see what it does. I mean, there's so many ways you can manage your runner. All right, we'll tighten it to one tick above that one now, just so we don't give all our profits back. There we go. Okay. So I got 20 points off the runners and 15 points. So you just saw me make 35 points there, and this video is 4 minutes long. So, and it was probably a minute or two into it. So in less than 2 minutes, you just saw me make 35 points. So, and all I did was wait on prices to come back to the trend channel line. I waited on, or I'm sorry, not the trend channel line, the resistance of the, let me back out, the resistance of the channel here. And notice how we keep turning down here and we keep turning up here. So this is a range day. So on range days, you're looking for shorts off the highs and you're looking for longs off the lows. If you can get a good entry off your trend line at the lower side or the higher side going down, like taking a short or taking a long, that's okay. But you got to be careful entering in the middle, because that's where you get. Notice how every time we get in the middle, look how it chops all around. This is where your sure things are at, down here going long or up here going short, just like you just saw me do. So make sure that you trade ranges properly. Again, if you get a trend like this, and you can get in on a higher low down here, or a second entry or something down here, or a little trap where you're not right on the lows, but you're still got room back into the EMA, you're okay. Once you get into that EMA, it gets riskier. Here we actually broke lower and turned and went up, so you would have been going long above the EMA. That probably wouldn't have been a bad entry right there. But notice how a lot of times when you get in the middle, it starts chopping around, and you would have got stopped out of some of these. So you got to be really careful. Your best entries are going to be up here or down here. And I could have managed that runner any way I wanted to. I could have put it down here and kept moving my stop down below each bar, see if I could get a little more. But with it bouncing off that EMA and not pushing on down through, I'm not convinced that we're not going to get another little push up here. We may not, but let's actually put our trend line on here from what we got so far. That's looking like the proper trend line there. You need at least 3 to 4 bars to really get a good trend line, unless you got a couple up here that give you, usually I'll start it off those first couple on these shorter term ones. Now we could correct here and end up getting a bigger channel. Like here, notice that I didn't end up, you could have drawn one off those first couple, but really it swung back again, and so this was your first swing. And we might get that here, but I'm going to start it off like that and see if it holds. And if it doesn't, then if we get another higher swing here, I'll start another swing down. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. Again, I showed you, we put our, and that was a good example, because it triggered so quickly I couldn't get my stop in there. But you saw me just drop a limit order, and luckily it came back and filled me, and I was still able to take the trade, even though I couldn't get my trade in there in time. So there were a lot of good learning opportunities on this one. And again, notice that we had our break of this trend line and moved to a new high and turned down off support right there. And I really wanted to take that trade originally, but notice my signal bar never set up. So, but by being patient, we got another opportunity on a second entry with a pretty good entry there. And even though prices may not even go back down here like they have been, that's what we're expecting to happen. We may, at some point, all support and resistance gives and fails, and prices could start trending higher again. They could continue to stay in the range and go lower, but we may fail here. But that's why we do the scalp and run. I scalped out, and even if the runner would have failed and we would have come back and got out at break even, I actually put my stop at BE +1 just in case. So I would still make 5 ticks off of my runners. But we were able to get filled down here 4 points lower, so I got a 4-point runner off 5 contracts, so that was an easy 20 points. And it looks like we did the right thing, because now we would have probably been stopped out at break even. Now, of course, I could have moved my stop and used whatever we made off of the profit to try to get a swing trade, and so I could have put my stop way up here, or whatever, 1 tick above this, and used the profits I made on my scalp to try to get a longer term trade, if you like to swing trade. So it all depends on your personality a lot. I don't like to give my money back. I mean, I had 20 points there, and notice I would have given it back, and maybe even if I'd have put my stop here, I'm going to give it back. So that's why I usually do not continue to hang on to my trades if they're not taking on off. Like when this didn't take on off, it looked like we were going to bounce, and sure enough, we bounced here. So I just tightened my stop until one or the other got filled, either my target or my stop. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to save this and upload it with our video today. So anyway, I may just go ahead and upload this as a trade example. I may not even use this for our video today. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and I hope it was helpful. Okay, it's Mac again. I'm just going to do a little follow-up on that trade and show you how this ended up working out. Notice that this was the original overnight high, and notice how we've just kind of moved a little higher. We're still really going sideways. It keeps prices keep attempting to break out, but they keep failing. And so now we'll just leave the line up here where the overnight highs were. And of course, if we started getting consistent resistance up here on down, into the future, we'd probably move it up there. But we're still in a range. This is where I took the short. And this is the point I want to make. This is the beauty of why we use the scalp and run technique. Because even though we were expecting prices to run down here, they didn't. They kept moving higher. Notice we've turned down right across there many times, but prices have still been able to push a little higher. This is still a range day. So look how prices are still back and forth above them. When you see the EMA going sideways and prices above it, below it, above it, below it, above it, come back below it, that's a range. So even if the overall day is a trend, we may be working on the second leg up here, and it may take prices a while to get moving. We may not ever get moving. But that is why we trade the way we do, and this turned out to be a great example of that. You saw me even on that. Actually, let me back up. This is where my short was, and even on that little small move right there, that's really not as small as it looks, because that's from 2780 to 2784. I got 4 points out of the runner there. And I pretty much got everything you could get out of that one. If I'd have tried to squeeze any more, I probably would have failed. But that was why I tried to get out a little bit before where you already had support there, just in case that happened. And that's exactly what happened. But I still had a winning trade. I still had to, even if I hadn't got the runner, I still would have had a winning scalp there. And that's why we use this technique. And I hope that coming back and showing you this again, that even though prices didn't do what we wanted it to do, go all the way to the other side yet, they kept going up, I still made 35 points there. And that's the beauty of this strategy. And that's how I stumbled upon this. I can't tell you how many times I would have taken that trade and probably had, let's just say I didn't do the scalp and run and I traded 10 contracts. I'd have 40 points in the bag only to watch it go and stop me out and get nothing from it. And I saw that happening over and over. Just about every entry, I would get some profit, and a lot of times I'd give it back. Sometimes I'd be right and it continue on, but I got to noticing how many times I was right for just a short period of time, but then the market did something unexpected or switched on me or changed, and I gave it all back. So I just said, hey, I'm going to start taking my profit. And that's what led to the scalp and run strategy. So I hope that's helpful, and the follow up. And as long as this thing stays across here and we keep coming back inside this range, we might continue to still get failed breakouts. We're still expecting that until this finally acts as support and prices start trending higher. When that happens, then you'll switch gears to a trend. But right now, this thing is still failing every time it breaks out. And so we want to treat it as a range still. So I hope that's clear, because I've gotten a few questions, people trying to decide, is this a range or is this a trend or what? But this is still a range day, and we're still trading range rules. When and if we get a trend, notice what we did here. We kind of spiked up and went into a little channel right there, but we got a break, a new high, and then we just corrected. Now we're just correcting again. So will we find support up here and go higher? I don't know. But until then, I'm playing it as a range, and I'm looking for failures. So be careful going short right into that. You want to get it, you want to see prices come back in and test that from the low side and then get a setup. As long as we're outside it, unless you're just going to take a failed breakout that's a good setup a long way away from the EMA, like here, if you'd had the second entry short here with a big bearish bar, you might go short just to try to ride it back to test this or back to the EMA because see how it's bouncing. But you got to have room to get back there, just like you would have to have room to scalp out going into, if you're going long. You don't want to be going long into that. You don't want to be go short back into that either. You want to have enough room up here. So that was the thing about my trade back here. At that point, this is where we had the line because we kept turning down right across there more often. And notice I had the failed breakout, but I got plenty of room back to the EMA, and I've got a second entry short and a nice small bearish bar. Well, you saw the trade, so you saw how it worked out. So you just want to be careful about getting long right into this on like a lower high right here or whatever. It may still work out, but you just have to be careful of that. And right back into the EMA and the support resistance. It's like we're going to get back in the range, and it may still turn out to be a range day in the end. But right now we're in a range. It hadn't changed yet. It looks like it's trying to go higher, but I don't see anything that would make me switch from my range rules yet. So hopefully that's clear. And we'll talk about this some more during the chart lesson this afternoon.